Hi, I'm the Grad Hacker and I help average graduates get onto high-paying graduate schemes. This video, I'm going to be doing a graduate scheme review or an overview of the Civil Service Fast Stream, and they are paying £31,000 to their fresh graduates um, that join the Civil Service Fast Stream. So basically, I'm going to be giving you some tips on your application, giving you some information on what the scheme is, how to get onto it, and then we're also going to be talking about the all-important hiring process, which is what I help graduates with. So with that being said, in this video, it's basically this video guide is designed to show you what kind of graduate schemes are in the offer in the UK. I've done some other graduate scheme reviews as well on my channel. You can check them out after you've watched this one, and this is just one of those in the series. And it's designed to give you a quick overview of the graduate scheme in question. Obviously, I can't go too much in depth because with this particular graduate scheme, there are 17 different graduate schemes that you can apply to within this one. There's 17 different, sort of jobs that you can apply to. So I can't go into each one of those in detail, but I'm going to give you an overarching set of information that you can take into the application process. And it's designed to help you in your research if you're applying to this graduate scheme. So that's basically the aim of this video. What we're going to be covering in this video is the salary of the graduate scheme, the overview of what the graduate scheme is and what you can benefit from, the entry requirements, and also the all-important hiring process if you want to get onto the graduate scheme. So let's start off by talking about the salary. So it's £31,186 per year for the Civil Service Fast Stream. That's what they're paying you at the time of this recording, which comes out to about £2,100 per month after tax. So that's the money that's going to be hitting your bank account. That's the money that you're going to be using to pay your rent, to whatever you need to pay for. Basically, that's the money you're going to be getting after tax. Just in comparison to the other graduate schemes that I've reviewed on this channel, you can see it comes in at number 3. I've reviewed 4 so far. So we've got Aldi, Base Systems, Network Rail, and Civil Service Fast Stream. So it's more than the Network Rail graduate scheme, which is just under £30,000 a year. But it's a bit behind the Aldi graduate scheme. Well, quite a lot behind the Aldi graduate scheme, which are paying 50 grand. The Base Systems graduate scheme pays 34 grand. And obviously, you're talking about 31 grand on this one. So by all means, it's definitely a good salary for a graduate. I mean, there's obviously more on offer, but you've got to realize that there's obviously more spaces in the Civil Service Fast Stream, as an example. So there's things that you have to weigh up, obviously. So let's talk about the graduate scheme in question. The civil service is the UK's government-owned sector, and it includes all government offices, departments, and services. You can choose up to 4 graduate schemes to pursue in the civil service, and there's actually 17 schemes to choose from, which all have different entry requirements and durations. So, the civil service is obviously massive. It's, the UK's government. There's obviously going to be loads of different sectors and areas that you can go into as a graduate. And more specifically, there's 17 different streams. And out of those 17, you can choose 4. If you get passed in all 4, or 3 or 2 or whatever, then you can choose which one you want to go into. So let's now go into the actual schemes and the entry requirements for these schemes. So let's talk about the different streams that are on offer. And for that, I'm just going to open up this link. I'll leave this also in the description below as well, and you can check it out. So here we go. This link is going to take you to the website itself. It's just easier to kind of explain it on here. So like I said, there are 17 different graduate schemes on the Fast Stream, each with high quality structured learning and career path with a government profession. Now, relocation assistance is up to £2,000 is available on some schemes, so you can find out about that as well. And like I said, you can apply to up to 4 graduate schemes. So it's in your benefit to actually apply to 4. Use all 4 of those slots. Obviously, don't just apply to 1, because you never know which graduate scheme you're going to get. So here we go. These are the graduate schemes. I'm not really going to read them out. You can see them on the left there. So a couple of good graduate schemes to note. The digital one, we've got the commercial graduate scheme, cybersecurity scheme. If you want to go into the government, houses of parliaments and stuff like that, diplomatic development, you can go into those. Finance scheme, obviously going to be a very popular one. Then we've got the GORS, which is Government Operational Research Service. That's also for a lot of people that want to go into research and stuff. Great scheme there for you. Again, some more government ones. Government Statistical Service, that's also a very good one. If you're into statistics and mathematics and stuff, that's a good one. Human Resources, of course, HR, project delivery, project management, that kind of thing. Property scheme, risk management scheme, and science and engineering scheme. So if you've got some STEM degree, you can obviously have a look at that. Now they all have the entry requirements in this middle bit as well. So you need a 2-1 for this one, you need a 2-2 for this one, for example. And there are some other little entry requirements as well. For example, you must be a British citizen. Some of the schemes only take on British citizens. Some schemes only take on people who have lived in the UK for the last 5 years, for example. So just keep an eye out for that as well. And yeah, if you just want to apply for it, you can obviously just click on the explore button and it's going to give you some more information about that. The other thing I just want to show you is that this website is quite good because if you already have a degree and you know what grade you've got, you can just put your grade in here and it will show you what you're eligible to apply to. So for example, if you're a civil servant and you put yes to that, but you don't have a degree, you put no to that, and you want something which is 2 years, well, it'll show you what you can apply to. So you can apply to pretty much all of the graduate schemes if you're a civil servant because you don't need a degree. If you're not a civil servant and you don't have a degree, obviously you're not going to be able to apply to anything. But say if you've got let's say you've got a lower second class degree and you want something that's 2 years long, there you go. Those are your choices and you can pick from there. So let's just go back to this. So now we've shown you the schemes and entry requirements. Let's now talk about the hiring process. And this is obviously very, very important. You need to know the hiring process so that you can pass it, so that you can get onto the graduate scheme. So the hiring process starts off with the online application form. It then goes on to the online tests. Then the third thing is the additional info stage. Then we have the assessment center, and then we have the final selection board. So just a couple of things to note out here. The online application form obviously will be online. It'll be like you're basically submitting your CV. They won't ask you for a CV, but they'll give you loads of like boxes to fill in. So fill in all your information, all your work history, all your education history in that, and make sure that that is nice and accurate. And then you're going to be called to an online test. So online tests, obviously psychometric tests. These include numerical reasoning, verbal reasoning. They also have something called the Civil Service Judgment Test, CJT. This is like a scenario-based assessment, so definitely important to practice those, brush up your skills on those. They can be quite difficult, and there's like no right or wrong answer sometimes, so you've got to make sure that you practice those before you go into them. And then you might have some other tests as well, like deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning and stuff like that. The other thing that you might have is something called an E-tray exercise. So research on E-tray exercise. I do have I do have a full course that goes into all of these different tests. So if you're interested, the link to that will be in the description below. But you can do your own research as well. E-tray exercises are very common for the civil service online tests. The other thing you might have after that is an additional info stage, and this is only on some graduate schemes. So I think some of the digital graduate schemes have this because they might want to see what kind of coding languages you can use or how much you know about tech. So that is not on all schemes, but it will be on some schemes depending on what you're applying to. The fourth thing that you're going to have, which is going to be on all graduate schemes, is the assessment center. So you're going to be doing things like group tasks, presentation tasks, case study exercises. You might be resitting some of your tests. You might have an interview and stuff as well, and you also might have a presentation as well. So definitely, again, if you want help on this, you can check out my Graduate X program in the description below, which goes through all of this. But yeah, basically you need to be ready for this, and you'll be given more information about this as well when and if you get to that stage. And then last but not least, you have a final selection board. If all that wasn't enough, they still want to check you out. Basically, they want to have an interview with you and see exactly where you fit into the business. So that is something which you'll have as well on most graduate schemes. They'll want to see, even if you've passed all of these, they still want to see if you can fit somewhere in the business. And if you can, then they will place you there. If they can't, then obviously they'll speak to you about that. So it's quite a long and arduous process, as with many graduate schemes, but with the civil service, it is particularly difficult. I've shared my story on this channel as well, where I basically got kicked out of the assessment center after 5 minutes of failing it. I basically finished the assessment center within 5 minutes. I was told that, no, you failed it. And I didn't even get to my train station to get back home. And I'd already been told that I've failed, which was absolutely brutal. So it is a very, very competitive graduate scheme. I can personally tell you that from my personal experience. So definitely make sure that you do all your research before you go into the hiring process so you know exactly what's going to come up. And if you want help on that, then you can check out my Graduate X program, which is in the description below. So this is basically a full 3+ hours of video content that shows you how to secure multiple graduate schemes. And these are the secret strategies that I used myself to secure multiple graduate schemes. And I spent 3 to 4 years just failing at applying to graduate schemes, just absolutely failing. And there's a lot of that I learned. And finally, I made, I've learned a lot of things over the past, and I've applied those, and that is how I got onto, multiple graduate schemes in this past year. And I'm on my graduate scheme of choice now. So if you do want to check that out, if you need help, if you want to fast track your progress of getting onto the Civil Service Fast Stream or any other graduate scheme, then definitely check out the Graduate X program, which is linked in the description below. All right, so with that being said, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the other side.